Hello and welcome to the Hans Kim Studios up here in New York City overlooking Manhattan. Manhattan. It's a beautiful day to be broadcasting and celebrating the year of no abortion, number 3 or 4 or 5 or 6. We're having a good time. We're celebrating the loss of freedoms and stuff. We're having a good time and just relaxing. So, on the topic of news today, there's a lot of news going on. One such piece of news item is first, Cassidy Hutchinson stands by her testimony amid pushback. So, the January 6th commission is still ongoing. That is a very good thing. We should investigate what happened on that fateful day when our democracy was ruined and tarnished by a bunch of out of shape assholes and douchebags and farmers and rednecks and middle income people who want to preserve their wealth and keep this system going, even though it's clearly not working. This is live. Yes, I'm live right now for the people that are listening at 6:53 p.m. Central Time on June 29th, 2022. So, we're just going to be talking about the news and figuring out what is really going on in the news today. So, payment data could become evidence of abortion, now illegal in. So, this is just abortion. People worried about abortion. They're gonna be talking about abortion for a while now. Abortion is cool. Obviously, we're sliding into a theocracy. We're sliding into some 1950s, 1800s. What's that Hulu show where they wear like little pilgrim hats? The women wear little pilgrim hats. We're sliding into that. We're sliding into whatever that's called, Mistresses Club or whatever. And the world that the conservatives want to create for us is horrible and not very free and a very horrible place that they want us to live in. And we need to keep progressing to the future and ignoring the religious idiots and the racist people who don't even realize that they're racist, that want to preserve this system that is racist because they're benefiting from it. Or, like, these people are so fucking tuned and ready to live in this world. They're like perfectly created to survive in this shithole that we have in this scrappy world where it's like, I'm gonna make it, fuck you, get out of my way. They're all like that, and they're perfectly designed for this shit world, and they don't want to create a better world because they're like, well, I'm already made for this shitty world. I don't want to create a better world that I'm not designed for. um, Handmaiden's Tale. Yes, Handmaiden's Tale. I got a Planned Parenthood punch card. Hey, Hans Kim, channel and chat. Long time listener, first time caller. Are you a news reporter? I thought you were a comedian. Now, William Montgomery, that's a comedian. Someone talking shit already. Yeah, I mean, he's a very funny comedian. Am I a news reporter? Should I not talk about things that are going on? Well, why don't we just jump into the land of fancy? Ooh, dogs that eat chocolate and have 14 years. Let's just come up with crazy ideas and images, and that will be more up Terran Hill's speed. Ter Terran Hills. He just wants wacky fun. Oh, what do we have here? A dinosaur eating a tarantula with that is both they're both purple. Dinosaur. Let's put on something Terran Hills will enjoy. Dinosaur cartoon fart. This is what Terran Hills thinks is comedy. This is what you want, Terran Hills? Whoa, comedy. This is what fucking this is the bottom of the barrel type shit that you get with you know, some hacks. I'm not gonna name names. I miss the old Hans making out. I miss the new Hans making out. I wish I wish I was making out too, buddy. Um, the older I become, the more I realize otherisms are democracy's greatest exports. The old man is imparting us with wisdom. Let's all listen to his misanthropy and condescension. Our democracy, otherisms is democracy's greatest export. Otherisms. What is an otherism? The others are the problem. Well, I'm sure that that's annoying to people that are the problem. Hans, I'm 23 with little savings on the verge of quitting my low-paying job and chasing my dreams. What advice can you give? My advice is to quit your low-paying job and chase your dreams, which you've already done. So I would say bravo. I would give you a little clap. In the modern times, it's not that hard to survive. I mean, it's not easy, but it is relatively easy to survive. So if you can guarantee your safety and survival, then I would say chase your dreams. I mean, if you were living in a caveman time and you had to hunt for food, I wouldn't be like, go just, lay around and think of funny little jokes. This is a modern society, and modern societies should be full of people chasing their dreams and not just struggling to survive. We should create more awesome things that are awesome and less things that are just survival and just doing things because it's whatever. What's up, Hans? Hope you're having a great day. Thanks. My dog almost ate a Reese's on the bus yesterday. um, I'm sorry that you have a dog and you took him on a bus. What do you think about pee pee? Pee pee? I like poo poo. Poo poo pee pee. Comedy, guys. Let's do some comedy. Whoa. Poo poo in my pee pee hole and tacos and butts. Um, but yeah, I mean, I would say chasing dreams is ideal and not chasing dreams is what our great grandparents had to do to get us here. So if you don't chase your dreams, you're making your peasant grandpas sacrifice worthless. They toiled for their king so that we could have a modern society, and now you're using our modern society to do fuck all with. You're just using our modern society to fart around with. And we are at the promised land. We are at the place where we don't have to just survive. And so we should take advantage of that. So, yeah, hopefully you're doing that. Um, I just joined in time, tacos and butts. Would you get two women pregnant if they were married and wanted you to? Why would it be two women? Just theoretically, would I get women pregnant if they wanted me to? Yeah, I mean, it'd be cool as long as I didn't have to sacrifice anything. I would do anything as long as it doesn't cost me anything. But yeah, if I have a little baby running around, I'd feel responsible. I'd want to take care of it. District attorneys like this one in Texas are vowing not to prosecute abortion. Abortion. District Attorney Jose Garza, pictured in Austin, Texas in 2021. Yeah, you shouldn't prosecute people for killing their babies because babies need to be killed. You can't just have every baby born. You need to pick and choose which babies are born. Like all these fucking conservatives love the Spartan society of like just no culture and just pure aggression and violence so much. They killed their babies. The Spartans killed their babies. You want to be raising all these soy boys and peanut allergies up to full adulthood? Don't you want to create a rough and tumble society? I think those conservatives, those military conservatives, are just on the back seat right now. They're letting the religious nut conservatives take charge on this one. They're supporting them, of course, because they're it's owning the libs and they support that. Um, but yeah, I don't. You're gonna create a weaker society if you just have babies pop out all the time. You gotta like be careful and pop out babies at the right time when you're ready for it. But like that's not what they want. They want to have babies all the time coming out of every hole. They just want babies to be everywhere and everyone to have babies all the time. I'm getting this new rice cooker dishwasher combo. She arrives from Thailand this Sunday. Classic joke. Rice cooker dishwasher. Yeah, like I got my dishwasher's broken. His name is Jose or whatever. All the crosses in front of church were my babies. I saw they found your semi truck in San Antonio, Hans. Yeah, 'cause I'm shuffling, smuggling migrants across the border. Do you believe in UBI? Yeah, I mean, I think UBI is like a patch on a broken system. It's like patching a dam. I don't think it's the solution. I think the solution is you pay workers what they bring into the company and you get rid of upper management as much as possible and like bloat. And you pay workers a percentage of what they bring into the company and pay them accurately and fairly in a mathematical way. Like, we need a computer to be like, this McDonald employee has brought in this much, and not just people at the top taking as much as they can and paying the people that actually do the work the minimum amount possible. I think it's just greed. I think people just take as much as they can and then they give minimum wage employees nothing. And in a world where the upper management are paying people as little as possible and taking as much of the profit as possible, the only way to fight back against that is with organization, collective bargaining, strikes. And since Americans don't do that, because that's for pussies and that's not what Jeff Bezos did to get rich, then we have a world where the upper management has the upper hand and they dominate and they kill us all. Um, yeah, I mean, UBI is not ideal. What's ideal is paying people fairly for the work they do and people being adequately compensated so that you don't need UBI. You just need to work like 5 hours a week to survive. Since we live in a modern society, you should be able to bring in a lot of survival coupons with 5 hours of work. Like back in the day, you had to work 700 hours a week or whatever, and now it's slowly getting less and less until soon we're just gonna have to like flip a switch, and then we're gonna be like, oh, we got $500,000 for flipping the switch. But yeah, I mean, it's important to pay people fairly and workers fairly, but we don't because workers are the support system to America's elite, which is the upper class, which is what America is designed for. How do I make my parents proud? You change what their definition of pride is. You turn your parents gay, and then they'll have pride, and then you can make your parents proud to be gay. Just get them to suck dicks and lick clits, and then they can have pride in that. Uh, getting this new. If I couldn't have killed the three kids I didn't want, I couldn't have had the three kids I did want. Well, you're still taking the bus with your dog, Jimmy Stealth experience, so I don't know if killing the three kids and having the three kids you did want is working out for you. Maybe you should kill your kids and live a better life. Get a car. He's not Andrew Yang, yeah, lol, but UBI is something to consider. I think it's better than what we have now, where people are in the streets and homeless and people are working 80 hours a week to feed their family. I think we just need to give people money because we have it. And we need to stop the suffering. Once everyone stops suffering, then we can figure it out. Everyone stop suffering. Here's some money. Stop suffering. He was funnier when he was poor. Yeah, that's what you want because you're poor. But yeah, I don't know. It's too early to tell if I'm funnier now or if I was funnier back in the day. But I do have a bigger platform and a bigger opportunity to be funny, so I have more practice being funny, and I have a larger stage and it's more set up for me to be funny. Back in the day, I was being funny for like two dudes on a couch at a shitty open mic and people that weren't listening to my jokes. Soon computers can do all labor, mental and physical. Yeah, and then we can live freely. Unless you think people need to be enslaved so that they don't blow everything up. I don't think people need to be enslaved. I think that people, for the most part, won't blow everyone up. I mean, look at how we treat people now, and look how few people want to blow everything up. If we treat people shitty right now, and there's this few domestic terrorists and, crazy Antifa terrorism and like all the shit blowing up, imagine how much fewer terrorists there's going to be if we actually treat people nicely and good. And there's going to be a lot of goodness in the world. Which country? Um, what What about once when you don't need workers? Then I guess you need UBI. Then I guess it won't even be a question. It'll be like Star Trek. You don't need money. You have what you need, and it's not even a thought. It's not even like, oh, this is UBI or not UBI. It's like we have the stuff. Why wouldn't we give it to ourselves? It's like if you need to make people suffer so that they invent things so that people don't suffer, then what's the point of making things where people don't suffer if we have to make people suffer to get stuff that prevents people from suffering? Why don't we just cut out the middleman and just stop the suffering and then deal with the slower amount of inventions that we get and be like, hey, we could be having more inventions if we made people suffer, but we don't need inventions and stuff. The most important thing should be having less suffering and less people dying and their moms crying and shit. I can't wait for Robeson community to miscarriages are also illegal now. Manslaughter. Yeah, don't bump into pregnant ladies or you might be killing them. I mean, if it's growing inside of you, you should be able to kill it. If it needs you to survive, then fuck it. It's optional. But if it's out of the womb and it doesn't need you to survive, then you can't kill it. If it needs like the mother to take care of it and stuff, then you need to take care of it, or the state. You need to give the baby up to someone who will take care of it. If it's on like a ventilator and it needs to be on a ventilator, then you can't unplug it because a ventilator is not a human. It only costs money to keep it alive. But if it's relying on you and inside your body, then it's your body and you should be able to kill it. Like if crawl up inside you and I start living inside of you and you want me out, you should be able to pull me out. And then if I die, then that's on me. And if the baby is gonna die if you pull it out, it's more humane to kill it inside the womb than to pull it out and let it dehydrate and, you know, die outside of the womb. So yeah, abortion should be legal if it's the mother's choice. Women are wonderful, beautiful creatures, and they should be able to decide who lives and dies, especially if it's connected to them and if it's their child. I think that's a good system. I think we need to democratize abortion and be like, hey, if you don't want it, then you don't, you shouldn't have it. No one else should be able to make that decision. I think if everyone is on their individual self, like power is decentralized and you're going to make better decisions. Which country invented collective bargaining? I think collective bargaining was invented by the first mob of antelope or zebra that were like, fuck this guy. Why are we listening to him? Why doesn't the larger of the classes simply eat and kill the smaller of the classes? That makes sense. You want it performance based. I can't wait until robots wipe my butt. Trying to get out of the system, not be a part of it. LOL. A lot of words to explain oligarchy. Just curious. If you're in the illegal in one the illegal states, what's the penalty for an illegal abortion? Death in Texas? Probably. Penalty for everything here is death. I think that the penalty for aborting a little baby should be freedom. You did the right thing. You killed a baby. It was hard, and you did something good for society. I can't wait to get hooked up to the metaverse all day long. Are you saying people who grieve over miscarriages are overreacting over nothing? No, it can be sad if you're planning on having a baby and then it dies and you're like, but it shouldn't be illegal or illegal to be like, you have a miscarriage and you killed it. Um, if you're like, I'm not trying to police people's emotion. I'm not saying you should never cry. If you cry, that's 14 years in jail. But if you don't cry at all, then that's the way you're supposed to do it. I haven't been seeing Polly since the days of Kill Tony the Destroyer. He was good. Okay, thanks. Good to know that place still has comedy. You're saying, just noticed Hans got some nice DSLs, dick sucking lips. Okay. I liked the idea you did with the Kill Tony remake for dating. I think it's a good twist for a different angle of live podcast. Yes, giggle and then jiggle for a brief moment. I was watching a video about the Big Mill Vanilla scandal. I'm out. Okay. But yeah, there's a lot going on in the world right now. The migrant death. Two men charged after police find possible link to Texas migrant deaths. Without America, what would The Guardian cover? It's like they're in a civilized country over there in the UK, and they look at us with our crazy ass system and like all this crazy shit that we do, and they're like, "Ooh, isn't this fascinating?" That's the best. The best isn't to live in America and have to experience it and be afraid of this shit. But to live in a civilized country where they have healthcare and look at the crazy shit we're doing and be like, whoa, they're trying to keep Mexicans out of the country that is raping their country and depriving them of economic resources. So they have to come over here and sometimes they have to do it in a very haphazard way and they hire a truck driver that doesn't open up the air hatch. Men were detained leaving home listed on registration paper for abandoned trailer truck where 53 migrants were found dead. See, that's the good thing about having a record and like keeping track of shit is that you can find out who was supposed to be in charge of shit. And it's like if you weren't gonna take responsibility, you shouldn't have signed this shit. You signed this piece of paper and now it's your fault. Then it's like, oh shit, I signed this paper. I gotta make sure that my Mexicans have air holes. Address or at least Texas have in charge of possessing guns at a federal authority continue to investigate. So that's what they charge them for is for the guns for some other bullshit that's not directly related. It's like we're gonna use the law roughly and just like figure it out and be like we're gonna we're gonna be like, oh, we're gonna use whatever we can to charge people that we want. You deserve to be charged, so we're gonna find something that you did wrong. In San Antonio, for rig that contained the bodies which had been discovered abandoned in an industrial area of the Texas city. Agents with the Federal Bureau. I like the British covering American stuff because they're like more outside observers. They're like aliens. They're like, whoa, look at this. This is the information that we have. Americans would be like, oh, they were illegal and they were not supposed to be here. And this is so fucked up and stupid that they're trying to get over here. Or they're like, oh, they were victims and we're so beautiful. Local police were stalking the building at the hours when they saw the Delunas get into a Ford F-250. That's Mexicans having an American truck. They're like, fuck yeah, we love the American culture. We hate Mexicans too. They killed more Mexicans than people that actually hate Mexicans, which is filed in court. There's also a pistol in How do you get arrested for having a gun in Texas? So they have visas that expired. They had guns. So they're like, you can't have guns if you're on visas that are expired. Yeah, if you kill 50 people, people are gonna crack down on you. But you can't charge them for what they actually did that was wrong. You gotta charge them for guns. Be like, you fucked up on the gun thing. Like, who gives a shit? Get them for the 50 people that were in the fucking truck. Just open up a hatch. Can you imagine being in there just suffocating? And it's hot as fuck right now in Texas too. Without permission. Why did I have to add without permission? Authorities said three people whom police detained within hours of the body's discovery were suspected of plotting to smuggle the migrants across the southern U.S. border without permission. Can you do that with permission? Um, what if the babies unionize? That's a good point. The babies should unionize, and then they can fight for their rights and be like, we don't want to be aborted. And the mothers will be like, well, I own the means of production. I own the means of producing babies, and I decide that you shouldn't be in here. I'm gonna forcibly evict you from the premises that I own. I have bodily autonomy, and you're not supposed to be in here. They're like, well, if you forcibly evict babies out of the womb, then we are going to stage a sit-in and, start kicking more. There'll be 10% more kicks in the belly if you forcibly evict a small percentage of babies. And the mothers would have to bargain. They'd be like, okay, we'll just abort 5% of the babies. But unfortunately, babies are not smart enough. They don't have the power, the brain power to be able to make that decision because they're not human yet. And you should be able to kill them. You should be able to kill babies so that we can have a better society overall. It is the most effortless, most least amount of collateral damage involved in killing someone, and nobody really gives a fuck about fetuses. You have to make an effort. You have to imagine caring about a fetus. You're going out of your way to care about fetuses. Go adopt a baby if you care about babies so much. And then if you adopt a baby and you're still against abortions, then you know, adopt more babies until you're like, okay, we can't adopt that many babies. Babies are not that cool. And you'll be like, okay, we gotta kill some of these motherfuckers. 11 more have been, so some people survived. I wonder who survived. Like, what kind of body do you need to survive a hot 18-wheeler? Well, overall, the problem is that we raped Mexico so that we can make more money off of them through NAFTA. And people are suffering in Mexico economically, and then they come to the country that is doing well because we are raping Mexico, and all the loot is stored here. And if you just have a country that is not economically deprived and the victim of economic rape, then people won't want to come here so bad, and you can keep them over there, and they can be happy instead of having to cross the border and chase the money that was taken from them and the resources that were taken from them. So stop fucking up Mexico for your own profits. Stop going to foreign countries and installing your corporations in there. Let countries rule themselves, and then you won't have this horrible shit happening. But if you continue to rape Mexico, then people are going to do horrible shit to get over here, and you are responsible for that, for the profits that you extracted from Mexico. We in America are living off the backs of third world countries, and uh, and we are responsible for this horrible shit coming over here. And Americans are like, that wasn't me, man. I wasn't the one that did it. But if we don't take responsibility for it, who will? No one else has the power to change shit like Americans do. Americans don't want to feel bad even for a second. They don't want to feel anything. They just want to feel the best emotions as much as possible all the time, which is super unhealthy. And then when they crash hard because they're so afraid of feeling bad. Just feel bad. It's not that bad to feel bad. I feel bad all the time and I'm happier than you. Just like being like, oh, this sucks. We're responsible. And then if you just feel bad about it, that'll that'll impact your actions in the future, and then hopefully you'll be a better person. Should we give Mexico land back? Uh, I mean, we can give them back New Mexico. I don't think we're doing much with that. We can give them back. Well, why don't we improve Mexico first and make it like a thriving country, and then people won't be so fucking afraid to join Mexico. But I think ideally what should happen is we should destroy countries altogether, and we should be independent little fiefdoms and connected through love and, you know, humanity and love of each other and empathy. So we don't need countries where we're like, we will love people within this line. Anyone in here I love. Everyone outside I hate. Instead of that, we can just love people and be nice to them and trade with them and hope for their continued success because it impacts us, and be aware of how we're all connected so that we don't need countries to rigidly and bureaucratically distribute love. We can just do it uh, organically within our own cells and our own genitals, and we can all fuck each other even if we're not in the same country. Stock indexes on Wall Street ended mostly lower Wednesday after another choppy day of trading as the market heads towards its fourth monthly loss this year. Oh no. Who is that TikTok woman that was like, the stock market is just a graph of rich people's feelings. It's all about confidence. I have a lot of confidence today. Ah, look, the Nasdaq went up. I have a lot of confidence. We need some reparations from the Chinas as well as whites. Who is we? Mexicans? What did China do to Mexicans? Who was impacted by China and the whites? Vietnam? Are you Vietnamese? Vietnam. Um, Hands is a good, but we get to keep Tony. Have you ever been to Mexico? No, I've never been to Mexico. We should microdose all the time and be empathetic with one another. That's true. 40 of the dead so far were male and 13 were female. I want to know who the survivors are so that I can mimic their body type, just in case I ever find myself in an 18-wheeler. Be like, oh, you got to be a small little dude who, takes little sips of air. But yeah, in a tractor trailer full of 50 people, 53 people dying, that's a nightmare. That's traumatizing for sure. These people, 11 people are now gonna be out in the world. Dude, what the fuck? That's so horrible to be trapped in a tractor trailer and not be able to get out. And air conditioning as it traveled through temperatures approaching 100 F. I bet everyone was naked. I wonder if anyone fucked or if they were too busy dying to really get it on. There's not enough lube. Everyone's dry. It's like, don't get too wet. We need to save this water up so that we don't dehydrate. Um, More checkpoints for large trailer trucks on well-trafficked roadways in an effort to limit episodes like, well, one in Mende. You know what they need is they need a fucking hatch. But even a hatch isn't good enough. What you need is like to outfit these fucking trucks with little compartments that you can open from the inside. But if you do that, then it's more likely to be caught because you're adding shit. But yeah, I don't know how that happened that they got into San Antonio and then they just abandoned it. Who the fuck? Maybe it was like some trucker that didn't even know he was carrying humans, which is like the ideal way to do it, plausible deniability. But then it's like take the truck to where it was going. Like why did he just abandon it on the side of the road? Why didn't he just open the door? Like was it some psychopath or was it just forgetfulness? It's just not an ideal situation. But the real problem is that we have a land of wealthy connected to a land of poverty. And if that's the case, then it's like a low pressure system and a high pressure system. Air is going to want to flow to the area with low pressure. And that's what's happening. There's a lot of pressure in Mexico, and they want to go to America because there's low pressure. What we need to do is create a low pressure situation in Mexico, but we won't because that would require long term thinking and thinking about everyone and not just ourselves, which is not something that we are willing to do. We choose not to do that. Anyways, Deutsche Bank's trying to do this guy's just copy pasting Wall Street Journal shit. CP, are you afraid that if you go to Mexico, you can't get back in? No, I'm not really afraid of that. I'm Asian as fuck. I don't belong there. They don't want me there. They're like, what is this pale, chinky-eyed Mexican doing here? This is not the Aryan Mexican. This is not our ideal version of ourselves. We want to send him back. Go back to whence you came, you pale ass little mole rat of a Mexican. And did you come up with a rich people good sex joke? When I came up with the rich people good sex joke when I had good sex, and I was like, man, now if only I was rich, then everything would be perfect. It's like there's not much that I need now besides rich. And then I was like, whoa, I wonder what rich people say after they have good sex. And then that's where the joke came from. If you want to see that joke, Google it, YouTube it. I'm not gonna say it here. It's just so that there's less clips of me saying my jokes. But yes, good sex is awesome. Unfortunately, rich people very rarely have good sex because they are living in a corrupt society. They are the peak of a corrupt society. They channel all the filth of our society, so they have a lot of filth in them. They're like a tiger in a poisoned ecosystem. They're eating poisoned deer, and they're getting rich in immoral ways so that they are not healthy themselves. Um, yeah, so I don't think rich people have that good sex, that good of sex. I think it's very rare that rich people have good sex. The best case would be if we lived in a beautiful, vibrant society and rich people could have good sex guilt-free. Unfortunately, that's not the world that we live in. Um, Coyotes do this because then they get to keep all the money and they don't have to do any work. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that Coyotes really left the truck in the middle of San Antonio because they didn't want to, um, because they wanted to keep all the money. They already have the money. They already got them in America. All they have to do is open the door and set them free. If they keep them locked up, then uh, it gets discovered, um, and it creates a big news story. There's more attention drawn to it. And then there's extra security at the checkpoints for their fucking asses. So it's not good for anyone. This is not a good story for anyone involved. This is inefficiency in the worst way possible. But yeah, I mean, I think it's horrible what's happening, and I think that we need to treat our neighbors better. Because if this is how we treat our neighbors, what is the incentive for people to be our allies if this is how we treat people that work with us? Like, if this is how we treat our allies, then there's not much incentive to work with America if this is how we're gonna treat them. So why don't they just do whatever the fuck they want? Do conservatives have conservative sex jokes? Yeah, they're like, being conservative is the best. I'm looking for my monogamous partner. And then when I find it, I'm gonna be super unhappy. Isn't it great to do what you're told to do all the time? Thinking for yourself is not necessary. You just got to do the classic thing that everyone's doing. Did you ever have midgenetosis? Nope. Hans, is that your Americanized name or do you also have a Korean name? This is my name. It's just, you can just pick a word that people are gonna associate with you and just make people call you that. A name is just a name. It's doesn't have any special meaning, even if you think it does. It's just a word. It's just a noise people make for you. And you can choose one that has meaning behind it, but really doesn't matter. But yeah, that's my name. That's what I associate myself with, and I don't really want to think about it any other way. All these fucking people. But what is your real name? Fuck you. I told you what you need to know. This is all you need to know about me. If I want to tell you more, I'll tell you more. Don't ask. But yeah, I mean, yeah, this is the name that was chosen for me that I've grown attached to and that I've associated with positive things. Should I buy a Tesla humanoid robot and start an OnlyFans with it? But I actually have to go. I have to go do a little comedy show at the Vulcan Guest Company starring Joe Rogan and other assorted comedians. Amazing. So hope you have a good time. We're gonna go out and have a good time out in public. Hopefully get laid tonight. Ladies, I am available. Anyways, I don't want to be too thirsty, but this is all about trying to get me laid. This is like an hour-long infomercial to get me laid. But thank you guys for coming. I liked how you did rolled your R's. Do you speak Spanish? Did I roll my R's? I don't know. Hey, $5. Keep up the great work. 4.99. What is this? A fucking mattress sale? Why 4.99? But thank you for the money. Only took 40 minutes to earn $5. But this is actually very easy, so I shouldn't really be getting paid for it anyways. Anyways, have a good night and have a good time. And remember,